Good morning, everyone. This is your teacher, MsRita. Today I will be explaining to you Chapter 2, Lesson 2, States of Matter. Before we stopped for the mid-year revision, we started with this lesson. Today we're gonna review them a little bit and we're gonna continue explaining. So please follow with me. We have three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. We can describe these states of matter using their properties like particles, shape, and volume. For the solids, the particles in a solid are very close to each other. This is why they can only vibrate in their place. The shape and the volume of a solid are definite, which means they cannot change. So wherever I put the solid, it will always have the same shape and volume. And I remind you that volume is the amount of space. For liquids, the particles are not so close, so they can slide past each other. This is why a liquid can flow from one container to another. The shape of a liquid is indefinite. It takes the shape of the container where we put this liquid in. And for the volume of liquid, the volume of a liquid is definite, which means if I have 1 liter, for example, of water, it will stay 1 liter wherever I put it. Finally, for gases, the particles in a gas are very far. They are free to move. The shape of a gas and the volume of a gas are indefinite. They take the shape and volume of the container. The reason why gases have indefinite volume is because the particles are very far, which means they can move away and fill the whole space of the container. We have two types of solids, crystalline and amorphous. These two types are opposite. You can see the difference between them in the following chart. Crystalline solids have a distinct melting point, which means that they only melt after they reach a specific temperature. Below this temperature, they will stay solids. They also have a fixed particles arrangement, which means that the particles or the atoms that form these solids are always organized in the same way. Some examples are snow, diamond, sugar, salt, etc. However, amorphous solids, they become soft before melting, which means if we take the example of butter, when butter is in the fridge, it's hard. When we take it out of the fridge, it becomes soft. Then we can melt it, which means that amorphous solids do not need to reach a specific temperature in order to melt. They can become soft. Amorphous solids do not have a fixed particles arrangement, which means that the particles in an amorphous solid are not fixed in a specific way. They are not organized. Some examples of amorphous solids are plastic, chocolate, wax, and butter. If you look at the following picture, you can see that the atoms are arranged and organized in a specific way. For example, in this picture, the atoms are organized above each other. One example of crystalline solids are diamonds. And diamonds have always the same and specific shape or organization of their atoms. If you look at the following picture, you can see how the particles or the atoms in amorphous solids are. They are not organized and arranged in a specific way. The word fluid means that it's a substance that is able to flow. Both liquids and gases have the ability to flow, which means that when we say fluid, we can mean liquid or gas. Viscosity, it's the resistance of the particles in matter to flowing. So the particles of a liquid or a gas, they will try to resist the movement of flowing. We're gonna learn more about viscosity in the second slide. In this slide, we're gonna be talking about the viscosity of liquids. If the particles in a liquid have a high resistance to moving, then this means that the liquid has a high viscosity, which means that if we try to pour this liquid from one container to another, it's gonna take a long time to flow. For example, if we take honey, if you try to pour honey from a cup to another cup, it's gonna take a long time. This is because the particles of the honey are trying to resist this movement. However, if we say that we have another liquid that has a low viscosity, what do we mean by this? This means that this liquid has a low resistance, or the particles in this liquid have a low resistance to moving or to flowing, which means that this liquid is going to flow quickly like water. If we try to pour water from one cup to another, it will flow much faster than honey. When we look at this picture, we can understand more what viscosity means. If you look at container A, we were able to fill only a small amount of liquid A. However, if we look for the same amount of time on liquid B, we were able to fill the whole container, which means that liquid B can flow much faster than liquid A, which means that liquid B has a lower viscosity than liquid A. This was everything for today, so please for next time I need you to prepare as homework page 43 figure 3 and page 44 number 2 parts A, B and C.